All right, family. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome to the stream. Today's topic is going to be reparations, my foundational Black American family, and fake allies. I sat and I gave a lot of my time, my attention, and my talents, and my money to a cause, to organizations. And the one thing that I've learned is that the more you do that, the more unappreciated and the more disrespected you're going to be, especially when that organization fundamentally goes against some of the work ethic and some of the seriousness that you have for the issue. Some organizations have been compromised, in my opinion. And this is where I come to allies. First of all, foundational Black Americans are Black descendants of American slaves. And for so long, we have been trying our best to play the ally game, saying that we as Black Americans, as foundational Black Americans, I should say, have allies, that people are not going to undermine us, and people are going to respect us like every other lineage, like every other claim, like any other identity. And yet, what I find so often is that whenever Black folks try to organize, whenever they try to have something for themselves, a lot of white people and non-Black people enter that space. And then what happens is the direction of that organization or that movement becomes more about white people and the feelings of white people versus the feelings of Black people. You saw this with civil rights movement. You saw this with Black Lives Matter. You saw this with, unfortunately, even some modern instances of the Black Panther Party. You're seeing this with in Cobra. You're seeing this with so many other organizations. And unfortunately, what some people don't understand is that foundational Black Americans are a lineage and not a political ideology. But people are trying to link it to politics because that's how you usually attack people. You know how whenever you criticize police officers, right? People say, "Oh, you must be some kind of hardcore Democrat leftist." Rah. Even though you could very well be on the right and criticize police, and we've seen examples of this. Or when, for example, you have an opinion about, um, you know, for example, the right to own firearms. Some people assume that you're on the right, and that's not exactly the case. But people have to mentally group you into a corner in order to, especially politically, in order to label you and discard you because they don't want to actually engage with you honestly. This is what happens when you let too many allies make decisions amongst Black movements. This is how Black movements become undermined all too often. And one thing that I've noticed, how you doing, Angel? One thing I've noticed that when it comes to foundational Black Americans in particular, is that people deny our very existence. People from the outside. And first of all, the one thing that I want to explain to people is that when someone forms a group, your outside opinion, you could have it, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. And that's the one thing that some people need to understand. Some people need to understand that when it comes to the opinion of certain lineages and ethnic groups, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, this that comes to a certain extent. There is a certain amount of respect that is owed to that person. Oh, let's see.
Yo, what's up, boss?
How you doing, Mr. David?
Pretty good, just chilling. I think I was on live with you before, like a while ago. Are you
Uh,
the one who's part of the Black Panthers? Is that you?
well, no longer actually.
Oh,
I decided to go my own way. I actually want to do my own thing. I decided that there's this new movement called Foundational Black Americans, and it's a distinction between for Black people who are descendants of slavery in America. You know how, for example, you go over to Asia, you have Chinese people, Japanese people, and that kind of stuff,
yeah.
right? So we want our own distinction because people who come from the diaspora here, the African diaspora, they tend to treat us like outsiders. And the one thing about Black Americans here is that we have developed our own languages such as Gullah, tutneys, our own religions, our own dances, sayings, the way that we talk, the way that we look, certain languages and certain dialects that you only hear here, like Gullah, right? So
Yeah.
I figured that you should make a separate distinction just for that. It kind of just makes sense at that point because it's not like
Yeah.
we and so whenever we try to do that, you have allies who are like, well, how come you all can't just be like black people? It's like that's so disrespectful. And it's like I don't mind your opinion when you come into like the space, but to dictate what my lineage is kind of disrespectful.
Yeah. I understand that. Well, how
Yeah.
you been? You been up to anything good?
I've been good. I've been trying to do my community service work. I've been trying to do some work with the organization, but then I kind of found myself being kind of hamstrung a little bit. So
Yeah.
I figured that when I kind of like cut off, and I'm already kind of feeling like kind of like a little bit like a weight is off my shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I'm gonna be working on community service mostly. Basically feeding the homeless and pretty much trying to do community cleanups. Like if I see like high crime areas, I'm gonna try to fix it like myself. And maybe through my work, I can inspire others to do the exact same thing. Because the one thing that I don't do very very well is sitting at home doing this. I'm streaming now because I took like a day off because of all the things that just recently happened. But back on tomorrow, I'm going to be back on my ground. Anyways, how have you been, and what have you been up to?
Good. Joining the military, being part of the dive team for the
Hmm.
Navy.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. Kind of
Hmm.
got mixed
You're not scared
emotions.
of water, man?
No, not at
Shit,
all.
I'm scared of water.
Oh, you are?
I don't want to drown. I don't want to drown, man. That
Uh,
sucks.
I don't know. Drowning is not a fear I have. Well, it's a caution I have. It's not a.
Right.
It's not like a. I'm scared of deep ocean. Um, just nothing much other than that. Golf a lot. Golf, golf, golf. I used to think it was boring, and then I got into it. I really enjoy it. So that's about it.
Right, right. Um, I mostly just try to at this point I've been trying to just do things that I want to do. I find myself always trying to attach myself to ideas and organizations and movements, and I find myself being clogged down with what other people want, and I find myself compromising on things that I want in life for the sake of others. Have you ever had that kind of experience?
Yeah. Well, like, so I've had like the experience of like I would do things to please others and not me. Like,
Yeah.
kind of like that. Yeah. Well, a lot of times in relationships, it's kind of where I end up falling, kind of stuff like that. But all
Yeah.
right. Well, I gotta head out, but it's good talking to you.
All right, brother. All right, brother. It's nice having you. But back to what we're saying. So let's see. You just hear about the ships. I have not. Kevin Samuels. Yeah, rest in peace, brother. Rest in peace. Um, I don't agree with things that he said, of course, but you don't see somebody pass away though. I mean, that sucks. Um, Tickle Monster says reparations for what? For slavery. Let's see here. But yeah, back to what we're saying. So reparations for Foundation of Black Americans. The reason why I want that for Foundation of Black Americans is mainly because reparations, it is something that is essential to repairing the damage that was done to my people over generations. Now, some people might say, well, the problem with that is that nobody alive was a victim of slavery. Okay. I understand that argument, and let me deconstruct the argument. Let me explain to you the reason, the fallacy in that argument. Okay. The reason why that argument is silly, in my opinion, I'm not calling the person silly. I'm just saying the argument is. The reason why I think this is that the argument is silly, that you shouldn't, that the reparations um that reparations should not be paid based on the idea that the damage is already done and that nobody alive is paying for it. The problem with that is that, well, I'm paying for damages that was done to certain countries and certain people for a long time ago. Like for example, Israel. Am I not? I'm paying for damages that was done for countries that I had nothing to freaking do with. Am I not? So if your argument is that I had nothing to do with it, therefore I should not pay, well then that's going to have to extend to a lot of things, and then I'm going to look on your TikTok channel to see if you're putting the exact same energy into it, because I expect consistency. I don't care what your opinion is. I want your opinion to be consistent, logically consistent, because otherwise it's kind of hard for me to take you seriously, right? So my thing is that if you want people to take your counter arguments to reparations seriously, come with an actual argument and not something that's just a canned response. I would love to engage with someone. I would love to have the conversation, but it has to be something that's actually somewhat original. You know, I don't want to keep responding to the same thing over and over and over again because it kind of sounds like a broken record, right? Like I'm actually here to have the actual conversation respectfully. I haven't insulted anyone, haven't called you any names. I respect the exact same respect, right? See? But people are going to disrespect, and I guarantee you. And see, when I don't listen to you, then you're going to say that, oh, you're silencing me. No, it's just I have an expectation. Let's have a respectful. Let's have a respectful conversation. All right, so let's read out some comments here. First of all, let's see. The Beard of Truth. Good evening. Good evening, sir. Let's go read some comments. So, Jester Clown says, I'm gonna refrain from my opinion on your screen name. Reparations for what happened years and years ago. What about the white people who were enslaved? Then you should ask for reparations in your own separate claim. Has nothing to do with my claim. And what white people? Anyways, and on top of that, Italians were compensated for damage that was done to them. Are black people who paid taxes on that going to get a refund? No? Okay, then. D Boy says, then why they had to give it the Western United States back to Mexico. I'm with it. Dusty Boy Tennis says, should the Jews get reparations too? Jewish people? They already are. Heavily. The United States even compensated them. So let's see here. D Boy says, not for my wallet. I'm Mexican. I don't owe anyone. Well, then stay at the conversation then. uh, Dusty Boy Tennis says, what about Egyptians, Greeks, Italians? That's their problems. I'm talking about right here in America. No, they were not. Romania, Syria. I was talking about Jewish people who were enslaved by the Pharaoh. All right. Jester Clown, are you going to have a serious conversation? In fact, you got more than 1,000 followers. Let's hop into the guest request, sir. Come on now. I want to have a conversation in person. Not with any silly stuff. Just a serious conversation. You know? I want to talk, you know, like two people in a reasonable, decent way. Dusty Boy Tennis says there's been slavery in almost 170 countries. Which one gets reparations? I'm talking about the one here. I don't go live. Well, sorry, buddy. You got to go. I wish you luck, buddy. You got to go though. I can't just have keyboard warriors. I got to have somebody that's willing to actually have the conversation, especially if you have the followers to do so. Dusty Boy Tennis says, "Well, so what if you're from here, but your ancestors were slaves? Then you go take up that claim with that specific country. That's irrelevant to the claim. Whataboutisms don't exactly address the specific claim that's being made here. Bringing up some random thing, it just yeah. Try to make an argument. Again, you're just repeating things I've already heard, I've already addressed in actual TikTok videos. That's how typical the arguments are. And everyone who's watching me right now, who usually watch my context, will tell you that. Just try to make an argument. Southern Boy says, my wife is black. She doesn't want reparations, but I am ready for them to pay her, show me the money. That's fine. The Beauty of Truth says a lot of gaslighting. Yep, I agree with that. Free college education to better themselves. Nope. That's okay. Cash only. Cash only. I'll take cash only. I don't know who this person is. Who's this person? 8 free 8 things. I I'm good on you. Can I ask what are reparations? Cash. Foundational Black Americans. Cash only. Cash only. If your wife rejects it, then you can't get it. It is what it is. Dusty Boy Tennis. None of my Jewish friends have gotten reparations, so Dusty Boy, if I have to ask for honesty here. Okay, we send money to Israel all the time. If I see something that I think is blatantly dishonest again, I'm gonna have to ask you to refrain from doing that, please. Uh, so free thing says what? But what if cash if they make it worthless? Well, that's why I say I'll take mine in gold or diamonds, but preferably gold. Gold is very valuable in my opinion. Southern Boy says, "Yeah, I know, so I got a lot of convincing." You know what? I'm not even mad at that, bro. That's the important thing is we send our money to other countries also. So every time we send money, it's for raises. No, if you send money to other countries though, and you got citizens right here asking for it, then yeah, you don't have a counter argument, sir. I don't see you standing in line fighting us sending money to other countries. And don't tell me you are, because if you were, you wouldn't be here. Okay, you have a whole lot of work to do. All right, buddy. All right. You be working day and night. All right? You be ran ragged, baby. All right. I want you come in here with the cap. All right. I want you come in here with the cap. Shoot, I am a cap detective. You know, you feel me? I am a cap detective. I've given plenty of money to countries. Well, all right then. You should have no money. You should have no problem with us getting money. Then deal with it. What you talking about? You talking about I have no problems getting money to other countries. So, all right then. I'm right here. It's called tourism. All right. Well then, guess what? This is called tourism. Except you get to stay home. All right. How about that? Foundational Black Americans want cash only. We want currency for our suffering. You can keep your education benefits. You can keep your land grants. You can keep your business opportunity, your business loan. How you gonna try to pay back reparations with a business loan? What? Yo, listen, that is wild. That is wild. How much should each person get? 20 billion should be the starting payout collectively for foundational Black Americans, and we'll go from there. How about that? And we'll split it off from there. You're always saying that we're only 13% of the population. Well, that's a very small percentage. And sounds like you can compensate. Sounds like you can make a deal. Sounds like you got a very small amount of people to make happy. Because it is what it is at this point. You got to pay what you owe, baby. Pay what you owe. Cut the check. And everything gonna be all right, you know? We want what has been owed to our people for generations. Foundational Black Americans, we will fight for the right to be compensated, and we demand to be compensated for the unpaid labor of our people. We built this country. We were not compensated. We were given the exact opposite. We were mistreated. Foundational Black Americans will not tolerate this. We want what America owes. I don't care about what goes on in Mexico and all the other countries. That has nothing to do with me. America, this country, the United States of America, was built off of the suffering of my people. And therefore, my people should be compensated, duly compensated, for their labor and their suffering. And the continued labor and the continued disrespect and the disregard of that history, the shattering of that history, and the acknowledgement that we have our own lineage right here in the United States. Yes, I am black just like a Haitian. I'm black just like if someone from Jamaica. I am black just like someone from the African diaspora who comes from the African continent. That does not mean that when someone who comes from Ghana can come over to Jamaica and says, "Hey, I'm Jamaican now." That wouldn't work, would it? People from the African diaspora come over here and they say, "Hey, you can't say that you're African American," and I totally agree. I say I am foundational Black American, meaning my family has been here, meaning my family built the country. We were the coals in the engines, and we shoveled it. We built this country from the ground up. There were inventions that my people invented that we were never even given credit for. Thomas Edison was given all kinds of credit for things that people invented who were black. The refrigerator, the pacemaker. I mean, the super soaker. Go look up how many inventions were invented by foundational Black Americans. Check their lineage. Most of those people, just like most people in most black people in the United States, most black people in the U.S. have links to slavery. Foundational Black Americans. A very small percentage of the black community in the United States come from outside of the U.S. A very small percentage. That has always been the case. So most of these inventions that you've been seeing, all these amazing black inventions that's been happening here, foundational Black Americans. And the reason why people want to group us with every other part of the diaspora is a way to dilute our claim. It's a way to erase us. I don't like that. I won't tolerate it. My people deserve better. The Gullah Geechee Nation deserve better. The Black Seminole Nation deserve better. Foundational Black Americans deserve better. I demand that we be given the same respect as every other group. I could say we deserve more respect because we built the country, but I'm not going to do that far. I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to say, give us the respect that we're due. That we're due. Right? Now, here's my thing. I'm going to read something from Axios. Axios says reparations that were paid to Japanese Americans, paid to approximately for holding about 120,000 people in camps. Right? The government of Colombia paid reparations to its citizens. South Africa paid reparations to the victims of crimes in 2003. You've had several
apartheid crimes. They paid.
Don't say that word.
Sorry.
Yeah. But my thing is that it is just you have to realize that at some point, foundational Black Americans have paved the way for every other group to come over here. We paved the way for every other group to have their movements. Let me give a little bit more context here. So, colonizers, Caribbean nations formed the Caribbean Reparations Commission, right? In an attempt to recoup funds from former colonial powers for crimes against humanity, of native genocide, and transatlantic slave trade and racialized system of chattel slavery. United Kingdom, the UK paid a little more than 25 million to 5,000 Kenyans who were victims of violence during the Mau Mau uprisings in the 1950s. Germany, after World War II, paid reparations to Jewish people, of course. France, there's been a long debate about whether France should pay reparations to Haiti after crippling its economy when it was just in its infancy. Basically, and on top of that, so as you can see, reparations have been paid to several other groups, and not only that, the United States has also paid money to Israel and also paid money to other countries. Like, for example, we paid money to Italy directly. We not only did we pay reparations to Italian Americans, we paid money directly to Italy. Ukraine. And don't mention that. Don't mention that either, okay, because they're cracking down. Right. But yeah, like that's my thing. Like you got to understand. Like we pay reparations to so many other groups.
It's common.
It's very common. It's very common. Whenever a group feels aggrieved, they get something tangible. Like, for example, if something happens to certain members of certain communities, that is always paid out to that community. Right? So my thing is that if you want to have a respectful conversation about reparations, you must also acknowledge a lineage. I'm not saying nobody else from the diaspora experienced other things that was similar to what we experienced. What I am saying is that we experienced it here. Same way I can't go over to Ghana and say, hey, I'm black, so what you experience here is exactly what I experienced. They would tell me no. And we all know that. Just because Haiti had an earthquake doesn't mean that I shake over here. Right? So meaning that we have different experiences. And making us the same just because of skin color, that is a form of racism. It's called grouping. It's a very, very old known trope. And I really, really wish people would quit doing that. It's very irresponsible. It's very irresponsible. So I want reparations for my people, and I want my people to be recognized and treated with the respect that we deserve because we built this country. And if you can't get with that, then stay in the past where you belong. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. I love you all. Horns up. Peace out. Good night and good luck.